story this morning now. The culpable homicide case against Duduzane Zuma continues in the Randburg Magistrate's Court. Yesterday, prosecutors withdrew one charge against him. The former president's son pleaded not guilty, but admitted to losing control of his car during that fatal accident. Well, Malungelo Booi is following that story for us, already outside court this morning. Malu, a very good morning to you. Let's talk about Duduzane Zuma pleading not guilty. Just expand on that for us. What was his reasoning?
That's right, Yuvega. In fact, the only time we had Duduzane Zuma speaking on that stand, it was when he was asked how he was going to plead, and he said he was pleading not guilty to the two charges that have been leveled against him. That's the charge of culpable homicide and that of negligent driving. But in a statement that was read out in court by his lawyer, he does say that he does detail that incident of February 2014 where his car collided with that taxi. He said that he lost control of his vehicle after hitting a puddle, and in fact also went to the taxi driver, Yuveka, who was also a witness, who was also took to the stand. He also went to that taxi driver and told him that he lost control of his vehicle, hence the incident. And that's all really that we've heard from him and his lawyers regarding that particular incident at that time. But we've also, Yuvega, heard from state witnesses that have been called by the state to talk about this particular incident. In fact, the state called at least 4 witnesses. 2 important ones that I would say were the taxi driver and also the passenger in that taxi. The taxi driver, Vusi Dlamini, saying that it was raining on that day and he had to drive between 90 kilometers and 100 kilometers per hour. Interestingly, Vusi Dlamini said that shortly after the incident, the driver of the Porsche came out of his vehicle and came to him and told him that he had lost control. Dlamini said to the court then he knew that it was not his fault as Dlamini, the driver of the taxi, that had caused the incident.
Okay, let's talk about the state withdrawing that one charge, Malu. Just explain a little bit more for us what were the reasons given there.
Well, that was the first thing that we've heard in court yesterday when proceedings started, Yuveka, with the state withdrawing one charge of culpable homicide, saying that they had consulted with a pathologist that had examined one of the passengers who died a few weeks later after that incident, and they found that they cannot link her death to this incident. Hence, the charges had to be withdrawn against him. Now, Duduzane Zuma faces that charge of culpable homicide in relation to Phindile Dube, who died at the scene of that crash. We've heard from one of the passengers who was in that taxi, who detailed that incident and how Phindile Dube was hanging out of the window, and that she in fact had to close her eyes after confirming that she had died.
Well, what do the victims' families have to say about these, about the withdrawal of that charge, and also Duduzane Zuma pleading not guilty, Malu?
Well, we've only spoken to the family of Phindile Dube, the woman who died at the scene of this incident. It was the first time, Yuvega, that they've come to court to actually sit and listen to some of the details that's been coming out about this incident. In fact, the mother of Phindile Dube could actually be heard crying when those details about her hanging out of that taxi window, were being detailed by that eyewitness. And the family, her brother telling me that all they want really is for this matter to come to an end. This is something that they've been hoping for a while, Yuvega. Since I spoke to them also last year, they were saying that they really want to see justice, but they want this matter to come to an end. They want to move on with their lives.
Okay, so we heard from the witnesses, that being the driver of that taxi. We heard from one of the passengers as well. Who are we expecting today, Malu?
Well, today we're expecting to hear more from one of the passengers who was in that taxi. That's what we know, that the state will be calling for another passenger who was in that taxi. We're not sure what the defense will do, whether the defense will call in Duduzane Zuma to take to the stand. That's something that we really can't say for certain that will happen.
All right, thanks very much, Malungelo Booi, just updating us on the culpable homicide case.